Welcome to the WWE Podcast Monday Night Raw review, the final Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday. And we've got a lot to discuss from this show, including who Alexa Bliss's first target could be. The Charlotte and Sonya Deville speculation continues to grow. And Braun Strowman continues to be mad at everyone and everything all of the time, every day. So we're going to get to that and, of course, a lot more right now.
Welcome to the WWE Podcast, your number one source for the latest in WWE news and straightforward analysis. Are you ready to get this thing going?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
Then let's get this show started right now.
All right, everybody, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review here on the WWE Podcast. We've got WrestleMania Backlash this coming Sunday night. Yes, we are finally moving on from WrestleMania. After Sunday, we will never have to hear WrestleMania, hopefully, attached to any other pay-per-view other than, WrestleMania. So the next pay-per-view, I believe, is Money in the Bank. So hopefully we don't have to hear maybe WrestleMania Money in the Bank. But I'm sure they'll add some kind of cute tagline or extra to the name of Money in the Bank. They cannot help themselves. For some reason, WWE feels the need to add these extra words to their pay-per-views, and it just sounds weird in promos. Every time you hear somebody say, WrestleMania Backlash, tell me it does not sound just ridiculous compared to just at Backlash, I'm going to take that championship. I don't understand why we need to hear WrestleMania, but I've been discussing that for weeks now, and it is what it is, and we are going to get that pay-per-view, albeit an interesting card, but one that is not overwhelming, nor did I expect it to be overwhelming, considering it's WrestleMania Backlash. You're going to get a lot of repeat matches, little iterations and changes in matches that we saw at WrestleMania. So finally, this Sunday we can say goodbye to the WrestleMania name. I've never wanted to get rid of WrestleMania, saying the word WrestleMania more than I have this year, as they started WrestleMania SmackDown the night before WrestleMania of night one, and then they not only continued with the two-night pay-per-view, but of course they added a 6-week extension to the next pay-per-view here. So anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. We're gonna get into all the Monday Night Raw happenings in just 1 minute. But first, thank you everybody again, as I said, and I hope that you consider joining us on Patreon, as we have really revamped everything over there, and you get an ad-free experience for every show we ever have done, as well as exclusive shows. The Wrestling Nostalgia Show, which is going to be dropping tomorrow, is of course no longer available on this feed, and you'll have to head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast to get that show for just $1, as well as all ad-free shows, and you get a shout out on this show. So that, among a lot of other benefits. So head on over to Patreon and become a member over there and listen to Nostalgia. And if you just bump yourself up one tier to the Raw tier on Patreon, you get our exclusive What If show with myself and Anthony DeMarco that we just launched this last week, and we covered What If The Rock Never Went Hollywood. We'll be doing another show this week, of course, for the Raw tier and higher over there on Patreon. I do thank everybody who has taken advantage of that as things continue to grow over there. And you can also get your own merch. Yeah, you can get your WWE Podcast mug and or t-shirt in the higher tiers of Patreon. So that's actually a thing if you're interested in such things. So I'd invite you to check it out. I have a little intro video there as well with yours truly, introducing the page and what it's about and a little bit of history. So patreon.com/WWE podcast. Okay, Monday Night Raw. What did you guys think? By the way, for the mailbag tomorrow, which is also dropping on the free feed, email me your thoughts on Raw at realwwepodcast@gmail.com, or of course, call us so you can get on the show tomorrow for the mailbag, and that number is 518 952-0247. Of course, it's always great to hear the regulars, but I encourage those that are sitting back and thinking about maybe one of these times calling in to call in this week. It's a relatively quiet week in the wrestling world, so why not? Get yourself on, and it'd be a lot of fun to hear a new voice. But what did you guys think of Monday Night Raw? Because I thought overall it was okay. It was an okay Raw. I didn't hate it. I actually thought if I was going to give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, and I'm forced to, I'd give it a thumbs up. I think Monday Night Raw achieved what it set out to achieve in getting us ready for the pay-per-view on Sunday. And yeah, it had some downs. We'll get to those, and Mr. Braun Strowman being at the forefront of those. Let me get to Braun Strowman. Let's not tiptoe around this thing. Am I the only one that finds Braun Strowman the most interestingly boring big man they've ever had? And that sounds like a backhanded compliment, and I guess it is. But to his credit, I think he did reshave his head, and he also, instead of trying to grow his hair back, he also got out of his I don't know, his camo gear that he's been wearing, his insanely tight shirt. At least this time it was a tight shirt that was his own shirt, and he was just wearing jeans. I think that's the best he's looked in terms of just his natural, just how he would naturally look. Like he looks kind of like if you were walking through an airport and you saw the guy. That's how I feel like he would dress on a normal day, and that feels good. It doesn't feel like he's dressing up to be a wrestler. And that's what I want with Strowman. So that's one thing positive I'll say. And the guy's got a presence. He is big. He's athletic for his size. He's got a dominant kind of feel about him. He's an asset, a big asset, no pun intended, for WWE as a whole. But that's kind of where things stop for me. And I really don't know where to put the blame. It's easy to point it at Vince. It's easy to point it at creative. It's easy to point it at the usual suspects. But what about Braun Strowman himself? And we don't know. We can only sit and speculate about, is he doing enough to push his character, to try to push the envelope, to try to come up with something new, go out on a limb, try something. And what I mean by that is, on the mic, character depth. Those are the two things that the Braun Strowman character desperately needs. What have we learned about Braun Strowman? He's been around for how many years now? 6-7 years? It feels like probably around there since he debuted in the Wyatt family. And yet, what do we know about him? We know he was associated with the Wyatt family. We know that he was apparently bullied throughout his life of being called stupid. Yet, that's all we know. We know nothing else. He had a crush on Alexa Bliss, I think. And that's it. That's it. The dude has zero character depth beyond being the screaming, angry at everyone and everything all the time character. And that's fine to have as a monster. But you need to, and it's been a long time overdue, you need to expand and get deeper with this guy. I'm not saying get deeper in terms of he needs to become Mark Henry and start taking women out on dates. It's not going to become sexual chocolate, okay? I'm saying, though, that he needs to show some other emotion other than anger. There's a lot of other emotions out there to choose from. And he just keeps going to the well of anger. And I understand that's how he's supposed to be produced. So that's where I don't know where to place the blame. Perhaps it is on all parties. I think that's the safest road to go. Because I want to see Braun Strowman become more than what he is. And some people may say, well, he's a huge star. What are you talking about? Yeah, he's a big star, but I don't feel like he's the guy that gets you excited. I don't think he's the guy that you feel connected to. I don't feel connected to Braun Strowman. I like seeing him destroy things, but that's extremely superficial. I want to see Braun Strowman connect with me. If they're trying to make him a babyface, I guess they are, or I guess he's a tweener, which to me, tweeners are lazy booking. To me, tweeners should not exist in wrestling, or at least rarely exist. And I know that people would say, well, life isn't always black and white, there's shades of gray. I understand that. But in pro wrestling, shades of gray often equal indifference, which indifference equals non-emotional connection. There's that emotional investment that does not exist. So that's why you need to make it clear cut. It needs to be that simple, not insulting intelligence of fans. It simply needs to be that simple. And with Braun Strowman, again, I want to see him succeed. He's a huge asset to the roster. But now this week he goes out and he is tempted to align himself with Lashley to take out McIntyre so that it's only a one-on-one match at the pay-per-view at Backlash. And he considers it, and then ultimately he doesn't. And we all know the predictable outcome in the main event of McIntyre versus Lashley, which was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. And we got a interference after Lashley was kicked in the skull via a Claymore to protect Lashley. We got a Braun Strowman interruption and takes out both guys. I think he gave each of them like 3 power slams, running power slams. I'm surprised he hasn't come up with a name for that. You know, it's just the running power slam. It's interesting. I just thought of that. But I don't feel anything for him. He's just an intense guy. He's got a lot of anger at everyone and everything. He has got a hairpin trigger. Everything pisses him off. Everyone's walking on eggshells because you walk by Braun Strowman the wrong way, he's angry about it. That's how I feel, and I don't want to feel that way with a guy that I'm supposed to be connecting with. And again, I don't understand why they're not expanding the range of what Braun Strowman's capable of. Show a little sadness once in a while, right? Like, get Braun Strowman attached to somebody. Put him in a tag team even temporarily. Or if you want to do a little bit of a love interest and then have the love interest get attacked or quote, injured by their opponent and have Braun Strowman show maybe tears of anger, like something. There has to be something. I know I've spent about 10 minutes on this now about Braun Strowman and his lack of character depth. But it's sorely, sorely missing. And it's been missing for a long time. And yeah, he changed up his look. That's good. He changed up that at least, to kind of freshen things up. He put a coat of paint on his appearance. But that's skin deep. He needs to go deeper. Creative needs to go deeper. I just think that there is a very limited shelf life with the Braun Strowman that we know right now. And he can try to change his look or change his music. That's going to be a diminishing return every single time, meaning less or more of it is not going to be better. There reaches a diminishing return point, and that point is going to be a lot shorter in time every single time he does something like that. So, okay, I know I'm kind of doing a deep dive into this, but okay, what Braun Strowman did, he destroyed Lashley, he destroyed McIntyre, put McIntyre down several times, ran Lashley through the barricade via a running power slam. He was just an angry man. And so Lashley and Strowman go down, which means typically, rule of thumb, as we all know as wrestling fans, if you get the upper hand on the Monday Night Raw or SmackDown prior to the pay-per-view, typically, you will not be victorious. That's coming Sunday if there's a pay-per-view. That's just a general rule. It's not a hard and fast rule. It's not a all-encompassing rule. It's just most of the time, probably like 75% of the time, that's the case, which tells me Braun Strowman has a 0% chance. And I would have thought anyway, even if this didn't happen, and it was just a kind of a face-off or a contract signing, and everyone just stared each other down and they hyped the match, I still wouldn't have felt that Braun Strowman would be victorious this Sunday. I mean, there is, to me, almost no chance. I just don't think that it's about Braun Strowman right now. To me, it's about Lashley and continuing Lashley's run. I think that's a very, very solid prediction for this coming pay-per-view. And I don't know if I'll change that. Of course, the official preview and prediction show is coming your way Saturday. So don't forget about that, as it's a pay-per-view week. And then the Botch Guy will be joining me immediately following the pay-per-view Sunday. So Sunday night, late Sunday night, you're going to get a Backlash review show right here with YouTube's The Botch Guy. Go check him out, by the way. I always say that, but I try to plug him when I can because it's really a channel that's worth checking out. It's so unique, and I can see him crossing a million subscribers in the next 5 years. I see him for real, and the guy's great. So, okay, beyond Braun Strowman, we got we got a Jinder Mahal returning. And Jinder Mahal returned as the modern day Maharaja. He cut his hair. But we also didn't see him come back alone. And he mentioned that. And he came back with, get this, Veer. I have no problem with Veer. When you put it next to the next one of Shanky, Veer doesn't sound so bad, does it? Shanky. Out of all the names in the English language, you got to go with Shanky. Am I missing something? Is this some kind of native traditional name for his? I don't know. What Shanky? It's kind of laughable. But he's got backup. I like heel stables. I'm a huge fan of heel stables. And it looks like we've got one immediately in place here. And Jinder Mahal defeated Jeff Hardy via the Colossus. Haven't seen the Colossus in a while. It's just a pump handle slam, essentially. No, but hey, he wins. And as expected, Jeff Hardy goes down. I like how they pointed out that Jeff Hardy did actually beat Jinder Mahal for the United States Championship a number of years ago, bringing back the history. That's good. So it was good. Jinder Mahal getting the victory relatively clean as well is a big deal. I wonder where Jinder Mahal is going next. To me, Jinder Mahal could be going up against Drew McIntyre following Backlash, or at least shortly thereafter. That's my thought. That they're building up another heel for McIntyre to face. Because Lord knows, McIntyre needs something else to do besides chase the WWE Championship. It's been like a year and a half now. I mean, can we move on, please? I love McIntyre. He's a great champion. Just go a different direction, please. It's time to shake up his character a bit and go after something else. Pride, revenge, don't care. Pick something. Pick a motive other than the championship. And I hate saying that because I'm such a championship proponent, but for Drew McIntyre in his specific case, he's done his job with the belt. He's added value to the belt. It's just time to move on. Okay. What else? Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke defeat Charlotte, Shayna, and Nia Jax. This was a weird match. We got Charlotte Flair at ringside, and Asuka pinned Baszler after a running knee. You know, that transitional move that everyone uses in their matches. The running knee. I'm very shocked that they used the running knee as a finish. I don't hate it. I think it's a good thing that move can end a match, and it should when you think about it. Someone going full speed at you, jamming their knee into your skull should knock you out. But it's more often than not, as so many moves are today, glossed over as a transitional, maybe near fall, never a serious contender to end the match move. And now this ended the match, and I don't hate it. I think it's good, but the problem is, I don't think it's a means to an end where they're going to start trying to re-educate fans that, hey, this match is, or this move could end a match. I think it's kind of a one and done. They're going to forget they did it, and it's going to go back to being a transitional move. Nonetheless, Alexa Bliss interrupted the match with Lily, who's sitting on the swing, and saying they're out there to, quote, keep their eye on someone. And then they watched, Bliss and the doll watched the match from the swing set, and after Asuka was defeated, or I'm sorry, Shayna Baszler was defeated by Asuka, they started laughing. It makes you wonder, out of this group, has to be somebody, you would think. Asuka, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Charlotte Flair, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax. Who is Alexa targeting? My thought? I think Asuka. I think Asuka is her first target. Why? Because Charlotte Flair is too big of a name for her to go after right now. Isn't that something you'd want to save? I think Asuka is that kind of that nice stop she can make for a while and attack Asuka, and we go from there. I don't know if we have Alexa Bliss, although somehow get involved in the championship match this Sunday for the women. I'll keep my thoughts to myself for now and wait for you guys to listen to the preview and prediction show Saturday night. But I think that's where she goes first, considering that they're booking Alexa Bliss as a baby face, or I'm sorry, a heel. At least that's how she's cast. The only option, when you think about it, is Asuka. So just some thoughts there. I think that her and Asuka could have a nice program. And it's really great to see Alexa Bliss finally, after months and months and months and months and months, getting her own program. So that's really good for her. I'm glad. But the other kind of side story on this, with this match, Shayna Baszler losing again. You know, I hope that when Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax break up, I hope that Shayna just, again, I want her to go on an absolute tear. I need her to snap arms, put that leather jacket back on. Maybe Nia Jax will be her first opponent if they're trying to turn Shayna Baszler babyface, and maybe they do. I don't know. I think Shayna's much better as a heel. But I just want Shayna to go back to snapping arms. That's where she's best. Keep the words to a minimum. She's not great on promos, and that's okay. That's okay. She can still succeed because she's so good at body language and being intense in the ring. And when she's at her absolute best and the top of her game, she's breaking arms. Now, you can't do that to everybody. You'll have no one left to wrestle. But that should be her goal, is to just hurt people. Her mission statement should be, I don't even care about winning. I care about hurting. That is what her objective should be. I want her to be a machine. That's what she is. And she's been masked by this tag team that, yes, has added a lot of value to the women's tag team belts. I can't take that away from both women. I'm not a big Nia Jax fan, but this tag team has worked. But its shelf life is now expired. It's been expired since WrestleMania, where I thought they should have broken up. They should have dropped the belts to the Riot Squad. That's where I thought it should have happened. It didn't. And to me, that's where, that's where, Shayna Baszler is at her best, is when she's not in a tag team, doing her own thing, being nasty, and raising hell. That's who I want her to be. Jinder Mahal, as I said, did defeat Jeff Hardy. RKBro and the New Day defeat Elias, Jackson Riker, Omos, and AJ Styles. Randy Orton hit the RKO on Elias. But that's not the story here. The story is Orton hitting the RKO on both Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, which was just awesome. I mean, I loved it. I cannot stand the New Day. So that was great. And we were all waiting, weren't we? Weren't we all waiting for that RKO to hit to hit Riddle? I think we all were. But I said on my show on Sunday, I said, Monday Night Raw is going to be very telling, because it will tell you whether or not WWE recognized the value in the chemistry that is going on between Riddle and Orton right now, and whether or not they value that to keep things going, or if they're just going to say, we think this is just a flash in the pan, and let's move ahead with our original plan of having Randy turn on Riddle and have them face each other at Backlash. Well, we got our answer, And RKBro lives. RKBro lives. I have to say again, Matt Riddle is unwatchable until Randy Orton comes in on the scene. And we saw that. I'm not talking in the ring, of course. I'm talking backstage when we had Matt Riddle talking with the New Day. And he's unbearable until Randy Orton comes in after they were talking about the tomatoes thrown on Orton. Which, by the way, the tomatoes that were thrown wouldn't have looked the way that they looked when it got when they showed Randy Orton with the tomatoes. It looked like somebody just squeezed a couple of tomatoes over Randy Orton's head. Now, the trajectory of the tomatoes thrown were at him. They would have got him in the chest or in the face. They wouldn't have been on top of his head like someone just had a squeeze press over his head. Again, a little thing, but production-wise, it's kind of like, come on, guys. You know, I don't know. I'm not going to rant about it. But Randy Orton does what he wants, I guess. I don't think anyone cares that he hit an RKO on New Day, because New Day are just, they're like relics of the tag team division. I don't see any more value in that team. I haven't for a long time. And I need Big E to remove himself from that as quickly as possible. Yet every chance he gets, he continues to wear the colors, say the catchphrases, act like he's still a part of the New Day, and regress his character. Every chance he gets, I feel like he does it. He will not disappoint. All right. Sheamus defeats Umberto Carrillo via referee stoppage. So this was, again, when I read this, it sounds like I'm reading. It's because I am, and this was not on Hulu. The match ended after what appeared to be a legitimate injury to Carrillo when he attempted a sunset flip powerbomb from the ring apron to the floor, but landed awkwardly with Sheamus on top of him. Oof. After a brief pause, the match was waved off and Sheamus was declared the winner. Yeah, that's real. That sounds to me like it's real. Here, you know what? While I have you guys on the phone, so to speak, or in your headphones or wherever, let's take a look at this together live. I'll give you my live reaction. I have not seen this spot, so let's take a listen and I'll look together. Here we go, guys. Well, here we go. Here's the spot. Ooh.
That was a nasty landing. Sheamus landed hard, but also on top of the knees of Carrillo. It was a high-risk maneuver. Both men feeling the effects of this. Look at this. It was certainly ugly.
Oh, replay.
Carrillo, look at that.
Oh.
Sheamus held on long enough. It was gutsy and it was risky by Carrillo, but the official trying to make sure both these men are... Yeah, but let's look at this one more time. Carrillo might be injured. Look at this landing. Umberto Carrillo trying to pull Sheamus, but watch the left knee, all the full weight of the United States champion crashing down on Umberto. The official, this is it. Wow. That's it, it's over. This is why they call them high-risk maneuvers, high-stakes.
All right, so, jeez. Okay, I see what happened there. I mean, Sheamus landed completely flat on the leg of Umberto. At least, if it could have been a different part of his body that would have been worse. His neck, his back, his spine, head. I mean, a leg and an arm are the best places he could have landed, given how big, heavy, and just bulky Sheamus is. That's the best thing that could have happened if an injury had to happen. So, wow. Okay, yeah, that's legitimate. I have no doubt, after watching wrestling for how many years, that's legit. I mean, he tried to call it off. Corey Graves covered up for him as best he could, and that's true. I mean, but he didn't really lie, right? Like, that happens. Oof. Hope he's okay. Shelton Benjamin defeats Cedric Alexander via pinfall with a T-bone suplex. This was also not on Hulu. If you can tell I'm reading, I am. Alexander dominated the match, but he let his temper get the best of him, leaving an opening for the shock finish. Shock finish? Is it? I'm not shocked by anything. Okay. With these two, I don't even know if I care that much. They've been at each other's throats since they got to the New Day, or to the Hurt Business. And now they not only were losing to the Viking Raiders, but now they're not even a team anymore, fighting against one another. It is, you talk about a rise and fall. Man, oh man, what a waste. I still don't see, after a month now or more of the Hurt Business being disassembled, what the value in it was. I assume, trying to get in Vince McMahon's brain, that it was, well, we don't want to have people think that he needs the Hurt Business to stay champion. How many times have we seen a heel champion with a baby or with a faction around him to keep him champion, and it worked beautifully? A lot is the answer. Triple H in DX. How about that for one answer? That worked pretty damn well. The Rock in the Corporation works pretty well, and they still came out looking like $1 million. I don't understand the need to break down Shelton and Cedric to nothing. They've literally taken them out of the Hurt Business, put them in the tag team, division, losing to the bottom team, and then break them apart. That's complete disassimilation. I mean, that is a complete destruction of Shelton and Cedric. So if that's the thought process to the reason why they broke down the Hurt Business, because, well, they want to make Lashley look as strong as he possibly can, and he doesn't want to feel like he needs them to be champion. That formula has worked wonders over the years, and he could still be a legit badass. I don't see the problem. Okay, well, at least Mason T-Bar, I don't think we're on Raw. That's a good thing. That I really have no feeling towards at all. If I never see Mason T-Bar, if I never hear the words Mason T-Bar again, it'll be too soon. So, okay. Rhea Ripley defeats Asuka via pinfall with Riptide. That's true. The match was announced by Sonya Deville after she suggested it and thought it was a good idea, which we think that Charlotte Flair had some influence in. She came to ringside, of course, for the match, and obviously the person who had planted the idea of having the women beat up each other was Charlotte Flair, we think. So Rhea Ripley beats Asuka clean with Riptide. That's her second match of the night. So Asuka was involved in 2 matches that night, but she's doing double duty. Yeah, I mean, you could say, well, Asuka had a match before, and that's why she wasn't at full strength, which is why she lost to Rhea. I guess that's plausible. But Rhea Ripley defeating Asuka clean with really not a ton of struggle is telling. You know, and also if you're going to look at Rhea Ripley as a kind of a looking at her in a report card sense, being Raw Women's Champion, I'd give her like a D. Seriously. And I'm not talking about Rhea Ripley as a performer or a character or in the ring. And at least their match was better than the previous 2, because they did not put on a good match at WrestleMania, nor did they put on a good match. I think it was the Raw after WrestleMania. They did not do good. They were clunky together, and I've noted that. For 2 great performers, it was not good. This one was their best of the 3. But my point is, it's almost as if getting the Raw Women's Championship at this point is a curse. You would think Asuka would have added a lot of value and they would have focused on it. No, they didn't. For like 6+ months, 6 to 8 months, it just got forgotten. And now Rhea Ripley, seemingly falling into that same pattern. She's getting a little mic time. She's good in the ring. But the Raw Women's Championship doesn't feel that important. The only thing that makes it feel important to me is the fact that Charlotte Flair is targeting it. She is truly what she says she is. She is the opportunity. So without Charlotte Flair in this, this would be a tragedy of a women's championship. But with Charlotte Flair chasing it, again, Rhea Ripley, great talent. Asuka, great talent. It's the damage they did to the Raw Women's Championship that's now coming home to roost. All of that neglect that they had for the championship for 6 months is now coming back to bite them in the ass. And they deserve it. Because that Raw Women's Championship does not feel important. It's got a lot of repair ahead of it. And I think Charlotte could be one to be the person to help add that value back. Okay, Damien Priest defeats John Morrison via pinfall with Hit the Lights. I guess the importance of this match was, well, whoever wins gets to pick the stipulation for the match at Backlash. Damien Priest wins. Again, this was actually a good match. The way John Morrison sells Hit the Lights looks like he's being killed every single time that he gets hit with it. That's a compliment, by the way. These two working together are very, very nice to watch. They've got similar styles, similar abilities, similar body styles. Body types, I should say, and they work together very nicely. I don't mind these two in a one-on-one match. As much as I can't stand Morrison's character, I think he retracts from The Miz. I think he's the reason The Miz feels like he's stuck in 2008 still, at least from creative anyway. The creative and Vince are the ones choosing to do this. But the match here with Damien Priest and John Morrison was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And of course, The Miz ends up trying to help, but loses, and Morrison still, or obviously, Miz tried to interfere, it backfired, and Morrison lost the match. So that means Damien Priest got to pick the stipulation for The Miz versus himself at Backlash, and he chooses a lumberjack match. So his theory is, well, he has nowhere to run and hide. If that's the case, Hell in a Cell's available, guys. Hey, just saying. If you can pick any stipulation and your main concern is that person running away, we all know the success of a steel cage with that objective in mind is low, because interference in steel cage matches happens on the regular. Lumberjack matches, you get a lot of hanky-panky, meaning heels and babyfaces fighting it out. You get a lot of back and forth between who's getting beat up when they get thrown on the outside of the ring. It's a mess of a match. And by the way, when Damien Priest says that he wants Raw and SmackDown guys as lumberjacks, what gives him the authority to do that? We're at a brand split, bro. But nobody cares, because they won't have enough lumberjacks if it's just the Raw guys. I guess I'm supposed to look past this, but I don't. I'm holding WWE accountable to their own damn rules. This won't count as a quarterly invitational, let me tell you. I can tell you that. I guess with pay-per-views, it doesn't matter. Everything's just so loosely enforced. But Damien Priest wins this, and I have a sneaking suspicion he will also be victorious this Sunday. So, I'm trying to see if there's anything else I missed. I think that might be, I'm looking through some, Evolution. We get yet another sexualized Evolution supermodel promo for Eva Marie. Look, she showed off her body. We all know what the top half brings to the equation, but her abs look great. I mean, she looks like she has busted her ass to get in shape. And congrats. For real. I'm not being facetious about that or sarcastic. Congrats. I mean, it's very difficult to get in that great of shape. Good for her. But the focus of this should not be her in lingerie or in these outfits that emphasize her body, as Carmella has now degraded herself to. But rather, if you're saying you're playing on the word evolution by saying evolution, or a really cute play on words there, then be what you say you are, evolving, not being a throwback to the Divas era. That's what this is. I feel like I was watching, Raw in 2008 here. Seriously. It feels like Raw from the late 2000s. Where we get to watch the women who are, had the latest photo shoot on the cover of whatever magazine. I don't need to see 1,000 pictures of Eva Marie. And now we're supposed to also, she's trying to get people to say that she's a role model or a super role model. What? Hey, a super role model for who? Who are you role modeling for? Exactly. But please, enlighten me. Who's your target audience for being a role model? I don't I don't understand this. The emphasis should not be on her body, as it is when they don't know what to do with a woman on the roster. They just go, well, just wear a tight outfit, get a push-up bra, show your ass a little bit, and smile and dance around. Do you think I'm being simplistic and sexist? I'm not. It's true. I mean, yes, Brie Bella and Nikki Bella. Brie Bella was Nikki Bella was more of a offender of this with her stripper pole dance entrance. I never enjoyed that. I thought that was such really a regression of the women's division. I never want to see the Bella Twins ever again, honestly. I don't think they bring anything to the table. I don't think they're Hall of Famers. They've had some funny moments. They've had some barely memorable matches like Brie did with Stephanie McMahon at SummerSlam a number of years ago. That's like pretty much it. I don't find anything towards the Bellas that help the women. I just don't. But with Eva Marie, it feels like I'm watching Raw from 15 years ago. It's not good. It's not good. So maybe they'll surprise us when she debuts and she'll be all business and kick ass. Fine. That's what I hope. But boy, I don't need this. I don't need this. This is not evolution. I was trying to come up with something clever. It's not evolution. Whatever the opposite of evolution is what she has done so far. So, let's see what else happened here. I think that's it. Adam Pearce was back with glasses. Whatever that means to you. I think Damien Priest needs the stink of Bad Bunny still off of him. I don't know why I can't get behind Damien Priest. And maybe it's because of the whole Bad Bunny thing that happened for like 2 months, 3 months. But Damien Priest, I don't know what it is. I know I'm supposed to like him, but I can't get behind him. I don't think he's very likable at all, personally. A great performer, but I just think he's miscast. He should be a heel. The way that he comes across on camera. But just my thought. A lot of you out there probably disagree with me. That's cool. So I think that covers Monday Night Raw. We've got, of course, Raw Talk. I'm looking here. Here's who's going to be on Raw Talk. If you care about such things, it's going to be on Peacock. And it's already happened. But Braun Strowman, Charlotte Flair, and Jinder Mahal were on Raw Talk. I have not seen it. It came on, obviously, right after Monday Night Raw aired. So it'll be interesting to see who Braun Strowman was yelling at for maybe sitting in the wrong chair or breathing too many times or, just existing. Whatever extenuating circumstances lead to Braun Strowman losing his mind and getting angry. Maybe we can tune in to see who he gets mad at on Raw Talk, which, again, already happened. I just haven't seen it. Jinder Mahal, I'm interested in seeing. Now, Jinder Mahal, I know a lot of you don't like him. I know a lot of you thought his title run in 2017 was ridiculous, and it made no sense. And him beating Randy Orton, I believe that was his first opponent after WrestleMania, was Randy Orton. Or maybe he even got the championship from Randy. I'd have to go back and remember 4 years ago. But I actually, at the time, I remember I made a video. And this was under a different name at the time. Just before I started the WWE podcast, I was under a different podcasting brand. And I said, Jinder effing Mahal. And I was not happy. I remember being very frustrated with the booking on this. And the more that the championship run continued for Jinder, the more that I understood what they were trying to do. And it's really very simple. It's nothing new. It is the foreigner coming in to steal the championship from the babyface, the resident babyface. And Jinder Mahal being from an Indian descent and really playing on that. Again, this is 2021. I understand people are super sensitive about race and all culture, all this thing. Guys, we're in a fantasy land, okay? Let's take it down a step. I know that most of you are cool, but we do have occasionally people lose their minds over me talking about race or ethnicity or whatever, okay? I for whatever reason, people are, freak out about everything now. But playing on that when you are a homegrown United States babyface champion, and I don't mean U.S. title, I mean United States of America champion, people will gravitate towards the country that they were born in, typically, to support that person. And the foreign invader is nothing new, guys. Ivan Koloff, if you want to go way back. Rusev, if you want to be a little more recent. Apollo Crews. And Commander Aziz, to be even more recent. There are literally dozens of examples, if you went back and looked, that show the foreign invader is typically a good formula for a heel. And I mean, look at Muhammad Hassan. There's another great example. I did a whole podcast on him. Talk about nuclear heat with Muhammad Hassan. It was just absolutely incredible how much heat Hassan got. But with Jinder, again, my point is, I actually look back and I respect what WWE did with Jinder. They were trying to make him into the next big heel. And I thought it caught some traction at times. He didn't have the greatest matches. He's in insane shape. He's okay on the mic. He's obnoxious. That's what you want. He is from a different country and placates on that. That's what you want. And he's now got backup. But at the time, he didn't. He was... Oh, I know he had somebody speaking for him, didn't he? Did he have like a sidekick? I can't remember now. But doing it for 6 months, I give WWE credit. I give them credit because I wanted to see someone whip his ass. I did. And that's, I think, ultimately what we wanted. So I didn't hate the title run that he had for 6 months as much as many of you did. Because I respect what they did. I respect the attempt at it. You're not going to always win on that. And they didn't. But I absolutely support that decision they made to create new stars, because that's what this business is all about. Star power. Just as any other sport that exists, that being the number one factor in its success is star power. Baseball, basketball, football, stars are what sell. So I just thought I'd comment on that. I don't think I've ever talked about Jinder Mahal on this podcast ever, but now I will be forced to. And I like how he has backup, as I said. So, all right. Well, that I think does it for my Raw review. Guys, as a pay-per-view week, got a lot of audio coming your way, more than usual. As always, tomorrow is the Wrestling Nostalgia exclusive to our Patreon members. And then the mailbag will be on our free feed. Thursday is ASU. What am I looking at, ASU? Jeez, what I'm looking at something else on Google right now. Thursday will be our NXT and AEW review. Friday is our, of course, rivalries with Anthony DeMarco. Saturday morning, we'll be dropping an exclusive show for Patreon members, Raw tier and above, for the What If segment. And later that night, our free feed will see the preview and predictions coming your way. And Sunday, of course, is the pay-per-view, which those of you who are on Patreon get exclusive access to a Discord server that I'm getting up and running. I have it up and running, so hopefully you guys can get access to it, or I'll send it out to you via message. And we can chat during the pay-per-view, but immediately following, we're going to have the botch guy come on, and we're going to discuss all of the happenings and results of that pay-per-view. So, guys, thank you so much. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at wrestling_audio, on Instagram at WWE_podcast, and, of course, on Patreon at patreon.com/WWE podcast. Thank you, everybody. As always, I'll talk to you next time.